Hey everybody and welcome back. I am Titan9 and we've got new starter decks coming out, and unlike last time when they released 5 and 6 separately and you had to play those set 5 or starter 5 release events, mirror matches essentially, we now have 2 coming out on the exact same day, which I think is how it should be done. And we've got Celestial Drive, Flash of Radiance, dealing with the Gundam 00 and Hathaway's Flash. I think just the first movie, but maybe the first 2, since I know that one is coming out at the end of January. So it'd be a good way to advertise for that. Anyway, I'm excited that this event will get to have actual varied gameplay. That'll be nice. I'm going to make a video for each deck. This intro is going to be the same for both of them, so if you've already watched one video, feel free to look at the timeline below and jump ahead to the chapter that you want to see. But as we've done before, we're going to kind of pit these decks against each other and see which one's better and kind of get a feel for your events that are coming up over the next couple weeks. I've been a little ho-hum on the Gundam game for sort of the second half of the GDO2 format. I'm hoping that's going to change with the new cards coming out. More people around me, more fellow players have been more excited about the new set coming out, which wasn't the case for GDO2. I was kind of one of the lone optimists when that set came out. Ultimately, it didn't bear too much fruit, as the format didn't change a lot. That didn't give us a lot of meaningful interaction for our best of one game. Hopefully, these 2 starter decks in GDO3 will change that. First, let's take a look at Celestial Drive. We have, it kind of reminds me of Clan in a lot of ways, where it cares about other units of the same faction and gives you benefits for it. What's interesting is the slight differences in between the 2 that help them feel distinct. Clan was more like an advantage engine. You get to draw extra cards or control your draws to a degree, or occasionally place a unit down right into, it was sort of value based. Here, it's kind of combat based. Your units get stronger or have some form of controlling combat based on other units being in play, right? So, not this one. Can be a rush. It is a 3-1, so like I'm a little skeptical of that. But on turn 3, you can play that with its pilot, because it's a level 3 pilot, and rush with it right away. That could be good for getting the last couple points of damage, or throwing your opponent's math off, or breaking the X base really quickly. But the Flash of Radiance deck has some direct damage to it, so a 3-1 pilot, that becomes a 4-2 pilot. Isn't the most exciting. Gundam Virtue becomes a blocker if you have a pilot in play. So the good news is the deck actually gives you a preponderance of pilots. There are 12 pilots here, 1 or 3 of each of the main characters from the show. Notably, none of them are commands. There's no command pilot involved here. We'll get to those commands later, though. So a lot of opportunities to still resolve. It doesn't even have to be on the Virtue unit. It can sort of go on any unit. And again, like, I love a lot of these low-cost units here, level 3 and whatnot, level 2. I think that gives you a lot of good options, sort of generic 3-3 here. But all these things can rush. Look, everything so far, every unit looks like it can rush. You just have to have the right pilot. It might be a little awkward because you don't have a lot of card draw, and you only have 3 of every pilot, but each pilot has 2 units that it can link with. So there are a fair amount of options. You will be rushing a couple of units each game if you want to go that route. The curios here, so this one cares about if you have another pilot in play, this unit gets +2. The pilot can be, again, on any unit. It just needs to be a Celestial Being pilot. So this becomes now a 4-3. This becomes a Razel if you have another pilot. I know it feels like maybe it's just a worse version, but it does, again, rush. So that's something to keep in mind. And if you were going to be a CB dedicated deck anyway and constructed, that's just pure upside most of the time. We've got a 4-3, 4-2. We've seen this kind of vanilla before. Main series Gundam, of course, is a very similar build to it. Works well with your Setsuna pilot. Dynames is one of our LRs. During a link, it gets +2 AP, so it becomes a 4-4. And it can heal itself when it deals damage to the enemy. And if we see Lock-On's thing, when he's paired with the CB unit, which of course all of our units are, we can choose an active enemy to attack. So you can kind of control your combat, take out your smaller units, and then get to have it for free. It is only with Link, so it has to be with Lock-On, so keep that in mind. Gundam Exia, the other LR, if you can get a lot of CB cards in your trash, so that includes because it's just cards, your bases and your pilots. There's a lot of them already. None of the None of the commands are CB commands, so we don't worry about those. But it's very easy to get that resource active, because by the time this comes down, you're going to have a lot of opportunities to have that. This when paired thing can happen too on the turn that it's paired. So on turn 5, you play this, you play Setsuna. Even if you don't have 7, you can put 2 of them into your trash, and there's a very good chance those will be CB units, because there's so many. All of these, all but 8 cards are CB cards. Oh no, yeah, CB cards. And then you'll even get to draw a card off the deal too, and then get that extra resource. You really only have tactical victim, because that's you can't even use that, because that's after your main phase is done. Anyway, it seems like it's going to be pretty easy to turn this one on. So good work there. And then lastly, we have sort of a generic 5/4. We've been seeing this too, like Fair Act in the GD2 had this kind of vanilla stats to it as well. Just a big beefer hitter guy. Let's look at our base here. Has the same burst as all bases, nothing crazy there. When a rested friendly CB unit is in play, this base can't receive damage from enemy units that are level 3 or lower, other than unit tokens. That is excellent. It's going to help stop your rush opponents. That won't matter as much in the mirror match or in the ST-08 matchup, but in constructed, this could have value if you wanted to play a Celestial Being deck. I think there's some value here. It doesn't really do much against decks that are not aggro decks, but it's easier to sort of manhandle those in a way. You don't have the value like Clan does, but you can try to win combat a lot more easily. Something to consider. All right, we have our pilots now. Alleluia, level 3. As I said, there's some value in it being able to come down early. And if you have a Link unit in play, including itself, or I should say the unit this pilot is attached to, this unit cannot receive battle damage. So it's good at stopping smaller enemy units, right? So your Alleluia can sort of eat up your opponent's small units, especially if they're an aggro deck. They likely only have a couple level 3 or 4s. Setsuna, we talked about. Oh, no, we actually didn't. We talked about Lock On. But this unit gets +1 AP. It doesn't even have to be linked. So whenever that unit that Setsuna's on attacks, it'll get +1 AP. And again, but Setsuna and his unit do care about having 7 or more Celestial Being cards in your trash, and that would give all of your Celestial Being units +1 instead. That's going to be great for getting over your opponent's big units there. Really stem the tide of combat. All right, Tieria, when it's destroyed, when the unit this pilot's attached is destroyed, your opponent, and if it's your opponent's turn, if your opponent chooses to destroy it, you will get to draw a card. It also has to be a Celestial Being unit, but obviously that's going to be the case in this deck. Very situational. It does disincentivize your opponent from trying to trade or kill off that unit for value, but I'm interested to see how that plays out in a real-life setting. And Lock On we've talked about. So these pilots are all very interesting. I think they fit the theme of the deck well. I think the main problem you'll have, as I mentioned, is it'll get a little awkward when you can't rush your units because you've got the weird mixture of pilot to unit. But most, looks like all of these units don't care about being linked. A couple of your units do, or actually I think just one. So I think that is a good design of the deck. Yeah, two of your LRs won't get their +2 AP, but it still gets to do its other ability, which is pretty useful, and it will get to recover those 2 HP. It just won't get to take out big units, but this deck will be good at taking out small guys. Tactical Visionary is a card we've seen a lot before, the Schoolgirl and Smuggler for clan units, but you just get to hunt around for the Celestial Being unit or pilot that you need, which is going to be great if you have the pilot but not the unit, or vice versa. You can kind of get the setup that you need. I love cards like that, and you get a full 4 of them here in the deck. This intervention card, if you burst it, you get to draw a card, so it's never dead, but it does let you have control over combat. Again, it's not a value faction, what is the term they use now? Typal set. It's about combat superiority, combat control, which makes sense if you've seen the show. So you get to just choose what they're going to attack, and maybe they attack something with your Tieria, and now you've gotten to draw a card and maybe killed something of theirs at the same token. So very good there. Fatal Strike, just a good card. I don't know what the art's going to be for the deck, but I'm glad they're putting more of these in the environment so that they're easier to afford for players. I think this card's pretty good, despite its limitations. Okay, so a lot to like about this deck. I'm a fan of the clan deck, so I'm happy to see its type of framework exist in other factions. I think that'll be a lot of fun to play. just by itself, let alone with whatever couple cards are also coming through in set 2. Oh, set 3, I guess, is what's coming out next. Now, Flash of Radiance, a little murkier. So one of the things it's going for is it does have... Actually, does it have technically more lower cost units? Like, it has these level 1s, but they don't really do anything. And there aren't even that many level 2 units that your opponent's Celestial Being deck has. As we saw, there is 4 Kyrioses, and that's it. So this Jigen Ground Type A Manhunter can take a rested enemy unit that's level 2 or lower and won't be able to set it as active during their next turn, but oh well. What you get as a trade-off for that is a 0-1. So like you've got an ability you're not going to get to use most of the time in the mirror match, and then you have a unit that can't even attack later on. Not the most exciting. Again, good anti-aggro tech, but not super useful, you know, in this starter event. So you like, not a great card to see. Fortunately, there's only 3 of them. You do have some level 2s of your own, though. So, but again, even if you're in a mirror match, you can tap down a 0-1 big whoop or this 2-1. But when it attacks, if it's attacking an enemy unit, you can ping something for 1 damage. So definitely good in the mirror. Definitely good against those 3-1 Kyrioses that are already likely to be tapped due to perhaps your Jigen, or just they got a little aggressive with it. So something to keep in mind there. If you're a Celestial Being player, keep that in mind too. They have ways to ping it. And you have a 4-3. So we have a red Razel now, the Messer type F02 Mine Layer. We got more Razels, can't be bad for the game. We have the Gustav Karl type 00. This is a 3-3, level 3 cost 3, I should say. That is a 3 attack, 4 defense. And while you have 3 or more units in play, gains blocker. We've seen blue have this type of conditional blocker effect before that cares about going wide. That is the advantage of all these little level 1 units. You can kind of poop them out and have them just kind of stand there actively to let your 3-4 blocker be a blocker. That's not bad against some of our opponent's units. It's a little weak in the attack department, but you've got pilots that we can look at later to help beef them up. We have a 4-3 vanilla. Again, we just saw this with the Celestial Being deck. It's a common vanilla type we've seen before. Level 4 cost 2. It has a Mafty trait, so you can rush with it. We have the Gundam C. That's one of... no, this is the common version of it. But you choose 1 enemy unit and deal 1 damage to it. It's just deploy. It doesn't have to be rusted, the enemy unit, to choose from. It's a 4-4-5-4. It rushes with Hathaway's Nowhere. You know, not amazing, but decent enough. Our units in this deck seem to be weaker than the Celestial Drive deck, so this might help you finish them off, right? This is what Anxas and Guntanks do in the One Year War aggro deck. That's very effective because your units can't trade the best with them, but this lets you pick them off later in the game. So not a terrible idea. Then we have our 2 Penelopes. They both pair with our blue pilot. We have just sort of the standard 5-4, that Fair Act GD2 type of vanilla. So just a big beefy body that'll go well with our, where is he? A 2-1 pilot. Becomes a 7-5. That'll kill basically everything your opponent has to throw at it. Then we have the LR Penelope during pair, so either of our 2 pilots can do it. And I think, no, yeah, we have 3 command pilots too. So it looks like we have less pilots than the other deck, but we actually only have 1 less because of this command pilot. But we'll worry about that a little later. So any of our 11 pilots work, as long as it attacking, and once per turn, when this unit is attacking the enemy player, specifically the player, you can reveal an Earth Federation unit from your hand and return to the bottom of your deck to draw 2 cards. That is a great use for these Jigen Ground type A's as the game goes on. You don't have to just play them for the sake of play them, especially since your opponent is probably not going to have enough targets for it anyway. Just hold it in your hand. Maybe it'll go well with this Penelope. You'll get to turn that card into 2 useful cards, and you won't have to worry about drawing it again because it's going to the bottom. Love that. And you can just kind of keep doing it, right? As long as it has a pilot and you keep attacking your opponent, which will help it live longer because you're not attacking units and reducing its HP, you're going to get to cycle through your deck. I like that card advantage. It's one of the strengths of this deck that you would have over the other one. Again, they don't have value per se, so they're not getting free cards for units in hand, sculpting their decks other than that 1 command type. So this is a way for you to kind of pull ahead on that raw advantage. And then we have the the LR-XC Gundam. While it looks crazy expensive at level 9, cost 8, but while you have no units in play that are level 6 or higher, this card gets -1 level and cost for each enemy unit in play. So most of your units are not level 6 or above. You've got obviously these two and the 2 Penelopes. So most of the time you're going to be able to meet that requirement. And if your opponent's going wider than you, again, sort of anti-aggro, like there's a very reasonable chance you can get this down on level 5 or 6 without too much hassle. Especially since the starter deck games generally tend to be more mid-rangey, so you guys are just sort of staring each other down, going wide. So this is a way for you to take advantage of that and be able to do multiple things on a turn. It's red, so it pairs with so it links with Hathaway Noah. And when it pairs, again, with any pilot, choose one enemy card with the highest level, and you get to deal 3 damage straight to it. So that's a fun little bonus there. 5/5, decent stat. Both of your LRs are 5/5s. That's pretty decent, right? Compared to your opponents, they've got the 2/4. The other one is a 5/4. It's a 4/4. So your units are a little stronger on raw power, and then you get some of the bonuses. They get to sort of beef each other up, but if you can break up that synergy, their units are a little mopier than yours in some instances. All right, we have 5 bases here to help slow down our celestial being opponents. We have the red one, Valiant, has the same burst as all bases. And when you deploy it, you add one of your, we know that. Then you choose one of your units to give it +2 AP. You won't always get to play this one when you want to, but maybe you just save it for when you need to take out something super important. Your 0/1 can become a little more useful, or your 2/1 that's already pinged something, perhaps killed it. You get to ping a unit while you're attacking something else for 4, and it's going to die to most things anyway, so you're happy to trade that with something that seems to have some value. And Devour is the blue base. You can activate something during your main phase once per turn. You pay 2 and choose one of your units and have it recover 2 HP. So your Penelope or your C, these high, or some of your other higher cost units, maybe your blocker unit, like you get to keep them alive more actively. You get to take better advantage of your resources later in the game. I think it's a good late game sync. All right, where are our pilots here? Hathaway Noah. When you pair it, again, so it works with any unit. It's a flexible card, which is kind of what you want in a starter deck. If this unit is a Mafty unit, which is, I believe, all your red units are Mafty in this deck. Yes. If it's a Mafty unit, as long as you pair it with a Mafty unit, one of your red units, choose one of your Mafty units, including the one you pair it with, and during this turn, you may choose a damaged active enemy unit as its attack target. So this is where the pinging comes in handy, because now you can have a little more control over what you want to attack. You have to plan for it, right? And you might even have to make this an out, where you don't know if you're going to be able to Hathaway onto something. But if I draw it, or if it gets burst into my hand, I'll be able to take it out then. That would be helpful. All right, lane aim. When you draw with an effect, if this is a blue unit, so it doesn't have to be Federation, though I do believe these are all Federation here in the starter deck, so it's more for constructive purposes, but it would gain high maneuver if you draw during the turn that you draw. There's not a great deal of draw at the moment. It looks like it would work well with your Penelope, and that might be it. So you're, not the best pilot for this deck, really just a 2/1 beater that can rush out your Penelopes. And then our command pilot, the command is choose one friendly link unit, and it gains breach 1 during this turn. And he's a Mafty command type. You have one unit that can rush out the Mopey 2/1, so not as aggressively slanted. You should be thinking yourself as the control role here. Obviously, you have card draw and pinging to do it. It doesn't feel strong in that regard compared to Celestial Beings' attacking aggro plan synergy effects. So you're at a disadvantage when you play it, but if you kind of know what you're doing, or you can catch your opponent stumbling, you might be able to take over the game that way. So keep that in mind. You have Siege Ploy to kind of help you get the right targets that you want for your Penelope, Or if you want to get pinging onto your tap units, Siege Ploy can help you do that. Slow down their aggressive attacks if you play it on the end of your turn. Lady Luck is like bad close combat. You choose an enemy unit and deal 1 damage to it. And then if you have a friendly Mafty unit, it gets to do 2 damage instead. I'm confused why this is level 5. Obviously, it costs 1, which is cheaper than close combat, but by that point, 2 damage is less important, and you have enough resources to do all the things you want to do anyway. I don't love this card. It's one of the things that make the deck look not great, but, you know, just something. It doesn't mean it's bad, it just is a lot harder to play. I wonder if it'll be like the Gundam Wing decks, for Wings of Advance, where it looked like not too much on paper, but it turned out it was a very skill-intensive deck, and if you sort of knew how to play the deck well, you'd feel unbeatable. I wonder if this might end up being that type of play. I don't think so. Your breach is conditional. You don't have a lot of it. It's not even like an awesome breach. It's breach 1. Not sort of a worthless deck, but not something I'd be too excited to play, or that I would feel good if I were assigned this deck that I would do well at the starter event, but I think it could be fun if you'd play right, and that's what we're going to find out as we play today. So, all right, thanks for watching the introduction, and now let's jump into some games. Hello, everybody. A defeated Titan 9 over here, feeling really bad. I had an excellent test game with the deck that sort of showcased its strengths. It was like a come-from-behind victory. I was able to play the control very well. I kind of knew what my outs were, played to them, and got rewarded, and found out I wasn't recording. It was very depressing. But if you had seen the Celestial Being video, I kind of talked about how that deck wants to go first. We want to go second. We were randomly chosen to go second. We were player 2 is starting the game, so that's good for us. Our cards are just more expensive, and we have a lot more interaction, so we kind of want to be able to have resources up, and we want to get to that later game quicker. So it's good if you have this deck to go second. That being said, this is bad. Bad. Everything just costs too much. This Sea Gundam, which we could theoretically play early, but we have no units to play. We have a base, but this isn't even a base we want to play early. We'd rather have the other one. This Words for Hathaway isn't even a great command by itself, so we're going to definitely mulligan. You want to mulligan aggressively with this deck because you don't want to get run over by CB, so you want to be able to play units more consistently. This hand's actually pretty decent, and it's definitely good we went second because we can then play this Messer early into this Gustav Karl, and hopefully it'll have blocker by that point, but we'll see what our opponent has. All right, what have we got here? Our opponent has the 3-1. They're going to get to break our base, but we have our Lady Luck to kill it eventually. We're going to play the 4-3. We're not going to attack into that Kyrios next turn, because as long as they don't put a pilot on it, our Lady Luck's going to get to actually do something. We could also wait until we have a paired Mafty unit, which we could do next turn, but I just don't see, I don't know if there'll be a lot of value in that. We'll wait and see. Interesting. So if they attack with that, they're going to get the shield, but this is good, because I didn't want to attack with my 4-3, my Red Razel, because then they're going to get to throw their 3-1 into it, and their 3-1's not very exciting. Now, attacking my 4-3 into their 3-4 unit that has a pilot, I really do like, because I'm going to get to 2-for-1 them, and we're going to be counting cards a lot in this video. It mattered a lot in the video that didn't get recorded. Very sad. But we were always able to keep advantage over our opponent by doing it, because we have slightly better card advantage than they do. They have none. We have a little bit. Our cards are also just rawly powerful on their own, right? This 3-1 isn't a super scary card, right? This is a 2-3, not super scary on its own, right? Their thing is about having synergy pieces. So if we can kind of dink and duck and pink and pluck away their units and always kind of stay up a card on them, that's going to add up a lot over time, and we're going to be able to take control of the late game as long as they don't run us over. We're going to sort of use our life shields as our resources here. Maybe they'll give us some bases or pilots for our trouble. So the first thing we're going to do, so if they didn't have a unit that we could kill with our 4-3, I wouldn't attack at all, even to get rid of the EX base, because I don't want their 3-1 to kill mine. That's a good trade for them, especially since we have the answer for it next turn. Again, I don't know why this Lady Luck is level 5. So that's good here. And now we're going to play the Gustav Karl, because I might want to rush out this Messer unit next turn, and to be able to play my Lady Luck and to do 2 damage if I need to do it. I'm not expecting that, though. The worst case scenario, Oh, I do have my C Gundam as well I could play next turn to kill it. Yeah, because even if I draw the blue pilot, I have the vanilla Penelope to deal with that anyway. So we're going to just use our resources effectively here. We're going to have the 3-cost unit instead of the 2-cost unit because we are probably not going to be playing anything else this turn anyway. So there we go. We won't get to take advantage of the blocker, I imagine, but I think that's fine. It might be sad if they have a way to attack it directly, like if they put a lock on right there, and they are going to be doing that. Okay, so they've turned their 3-1 into a 4-3. That's a little annoying, but not the end of the world. Okay. This might be fine, I think. How to best take advantage of this. So this C Gundam, as soon as it comes into play, is going to be able to kill either of these units. If I can have my Lady Luck, I will have to survive one more turn and let them have the shield going on. I think, okay, I think I don't even bother with the pilot then, and I get to keep the EX resource, right? There's no point in playing the Hathaway right now because I don't want to attack with this C Gundam. And I might want to rush with this Messer later on anyway. And we're going to get to kill one of their units. They're 4-3. Yeah, the lock-on Stratos only works on the turn that it's paired, so that's not a big issue for us. Okay. We're playing the control role here, everybody. Like, we have so many more cards than our opponent does. They only have 2 units on field. They're about to only have 1. Like, I just want you to see we're kind of threading the needle here. This is what you want to do with a control deck. So we're going to... Oh no, the C only deals 1 damage. Only deals 1 damage. It's not 3. That's the other C Gundam. Okay, that changes things then. I could play that and the Lady Luck to kill 1 unit, and then have the C kill that Curios next time, but that feels sort of like a waste. Okay, I don't have to blow a Hathaway. I could instead blow this Words for Hathaway, and we still get to keep the EX resource. Okay, I think that's reasonable then, right? Because you're a Mafty. Gamen Nobile. Nobile. No, where did it go? What happened? Okay, we're playing the 4-3, right? That Ken Link. We're putting the pilot on it. We're using Lady Luck to get rid of you. Oh wait, does this have to be damaged? No, okay, does not. Some of the cards kind of feel like they do similar things. And it would be nice not to attack that thing now, but we have to. We did get to 3 for 4 them, so we are... No, because that thing got to kill something too. So we're 4 for 4, but I think that's not the end of the world. I think our units are a little more powerful than they are. We get to have some control board here too. Ugh. This is 0-1. We're gonna hold it in our hand. There's not really an advantage to playing it right now. So our Hathaway Noah is now gonna get to do the control roll, so I'm glad we saved him. We're gonna do 1 damage to the Gundam Exia. Does this Hallelujah do anything to us? No, not at the moment anyway. We're gonna do damage to it and then get to attack it directly. They don't have a way to deal 1 ping damage to us, so unless they throw a rushed unit or a piloted unit at us next turn, we're gonna get to come out ahead on this trade. So let's do that here. Deal damage to the 4-3. You are gonna get to attack. If we had a base in play, with the 0-5 base, you could make consideration of getting rid of the 5-4 Exia instead, because the other one isn't likely to be able... Well, I guess any pilot allows it to do that. That might be greedy. Alright, let's just end the turn. Choose 1 rested enemy units level 2 or lower. This card is so worthless. In the other unit, I had 2 of the LRs that let you pitch those to draw cards. Ugh, it's just getting bad. Okay, so they did want to trade there. We're totally okay with that. Man. Okay, alright. They have the 4-3. They have a pilot for it. So we do get to trade with that, which is fine. We are going to take out their EX base. If they want to hit our unit, our shield, we'll just kill the 5-4 on the crackback. If they want to link a pilot and attack into it next turn, that's fine, because we're 2 for 1ing them still. We're going to play another one. I have no reason to play these 0-1s at the moment. Even if that red base pops up in the shields. Like, I won't get to use that effect on the 0-1s anyway, so I might as well wait. There's a chance this effect could come up. Next turn, if I don't have anything better to do, I think I would do it. Perfect. I'm very happy for this trade. They don't even get to draw a card off of it because they chose to attack us directly. Ooh, okay. We're going to play you, and this is just cares about pair, so we might get to do some cool stuff with that later on. Do I want to attack into their shields? I think that's fine to do. I don't think they can punish us for that. I don't think they have a way to kill my 5/5. I wish I remember the deck list a little better. We got rid of one of their LRs. That's pretty good. Okay, they're mixing and matching their pilots, but they still have a 4/4. Very respectable. Ooh, we drew it anyway. Ooh, I love it. Okay, we're putting the pilot on you. We are attacking with you first. We don't have siege ploy to worry about. We're going to get rid of one of these 0-1s. This is just what I was talking about in the intro video. And we get 2 cards out of it. We get to play that base, but I don't think there's too much value in that. Ooh, they have the pilot during your turn, so that we'll get to bust a base next turn, so there's no point in playing that base at the moment. They will get to kill our Penelope, but that's not the end of the world. Okay, we're going to play the other one anyway, and we have the Hathaway, so we're very likely to get rid of this other 0-1 and turn that into something useful. Glad we kept those in our hand. Again, we did have to draw one of 2 very specific cards, but there was literally no value into playing them, so why not? So we got 2 cards out of it, because we essentially got rid of a dead card. And we got to 2 for 2 then. So it's really 3 for 2 because we got the extra card out of the deal, and we got an extra Hathaway anyway, so we don't even really have to worry about this. This unit cannot bust our base next turn, so I'm very happy playing the Valiant, but I won't do it just... Yeah, I guess it doesn't hurt to do it now. Play the Valiant, the red base. Gives something +2, but it doesn't super duper matter. 2-1 Mafty trait, so I could rush if I really wanted to, but I don't think I do. Alright, we are playing our Hathaway now. We're on the Penelope. Don't have any damage unit. Doesn't matter, I don't have a Mafty unit to take advantage of that anyway. So let's attack. Let's get rid of that 0-1. Purely in the deck to get that engine going. Ooh, love that. Okay, let us attack. They have no cards in hand, right? We could give them a link unit, but doesn't matter. All right, so this video ended up needing not as close as the other one. I really wish you guys got to see that game. It was a very excellent game demonstrating how to play this deck well. We don't even have a unit to damage this turn, but that's fine. It's only on pair, so we'll kind of save that. We'll just play this for full cost. Doesn't matter. We still even have our EX resource. They have a 0-5 base, but looks like our opponent is just dead. And we have a siege ploy if they had a blocker or whatever. So we did this one. We played the control role. We let them do our damage when we could. We tried to get value out of all of our cards. So that's why we weren't killing units with our units willy-nilly. We were trying to 2-for-1 them with our units, having our unpaired units, attacking their paired units. That's one of the advantages that this deck has, the Flash of Radiance over the CB deck. Is our units can do that, and they have a harder time with their unpaired units attacking into ours. So keep that in mind. We'll attack with this 5/5 first. Just so we can let this Penelope well, we get to rush a unit, so doesn't really matter. Alright, you, 7/6, get rid of that base. We have nothing to get rid of. Should we be a little cheeky? Do they have a way to stop us? No. Armor intervention's the only thing they can really do, and they don't have a unit to block anyway, and even if they did, that wouldn't have mattered. The siege play wouldn't have mattered there. Okay. We'll let our 2-1 unit go and finish the day. Because we pair it with the Hathaway Noah. Okay, there you go. They just had 1 pilot in hand. Not a big deal for us. Okay, do you see I know the deck doesn't look great on paper, but you treat it like a control deck. You try to play it like a control deck. You understand that you have the better card advantage than your opponent does, that you have the better raw stat units than your opponent does, and you try to pick off their units so that they can't use their synergy against you. You'll be in a pretty good position. Part of why the unrecorded game was so close was we just kept drawing pilots and commands. We saw all 3 Lucky Girls or whatever that card is, and just like 7 units in the first 20 cards of the deck. So it was looking very ugly there, but we played smart there and we were able to turn it around, and We were basically down to 1 red shield and no actual upside down shield cards in our deck, in our shield area. So very close. Here we still had 3, and we only lost 1 of them from playing the Valiant. So they really only hit us 3 times, 1 taking out the EX base and then 2 more for the life there. So as you can see, pretty decent. Turn of play here, you just sort of play smart, right? We're a little slower than them, but we have more ways to control the battlefield than they do. Our pingings aren't the best, but if you play right, you can get a lot of good advantage out of it. So thanks for watching. I wish you the best of luck in all of your starter events over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully GD3 does a lot to reinvigorate the game. Thank you all, and have a great time.